In real estate, the process is guided by two equally important forces: the clients pursuing their dream and the agents working to make those dreams a reality. Every transaction has a chronicle. These are their stories.
Hello, everyone. It is another episode of Realty in Reality. I am your host, Angela All, and we have a very special guest with us here today. This guest has been a long-time friend. She is like family to me, and she is going to discuss something very important with us. So I want to introduce Ms. Jocelyn Stripling.
Thank you, Angela. Thank you for selecting me as one of the participants in this program.
Absolutely. I couldn't think of anyone else that would be just absolutely outstanding. Tell us a little bit about yourself and how you got into real estate.
I've been in real estate 31. This is my 32nd year. I'm really into my 32nd year. And I've always dreamed of, as I said when I was growing up, I was going to get my mama the house, the key to all these houses that we used to go see on Sundays. But I literally think that this is probably one of the best careers I could have chosen, because I'm able to impact someone's life and set a footprint on what their children are going to grow up to see, what their families are going to experience. And it's important to me, especially when it comes to changing someone's life.
Absolutely, absolutely. And she's been doing it on a high level for as long as I've known her. So it is a blessing to have her with us. Now today, this topic is going to hit on par with a lot of people. So we're going to talk about inspections. And this one is going to be the inspection that changed everything. So if you bought a home, or if you're thinking about buying a home, keep in mind inspections are essential. And you're going to see why because of this true story today. All right, Jocelyn. So we're going to jump right into it. So tell us a little bit about the situation. Like, was it a first-time home buyer? Was it a seller? Like, what set up the scene for us?
Both the clients already had their own home.
Okay.
They had an investment property and they were looking to buy a new primary residence together.
Okay.
They were very familiar with the subdivision that they wanted. They specifically said, look in this subdivision. And sure enough, there was one that came on the market, had the finished basement, had everything they wanted. Ideal situation. Aesthetically, it looked beautiful.
Okay.
And I said, okay, well, we're good. We're under contract. Let's go ahead and get our inspector. That's one thing, regardless of how good something looks, we can only see the aesthetics from what our experiences are, what's behind the walls or what the bones are.
Exactly.
And I called my inspector. I asked them if they had an inspector that they wanted to use. We chose about two to consider, and they moved forward with the inspector that I recommended.
Okay.
And I'm very thankful for that. Midway through, he normally goes out to do the inspection, and then he'll call and have the clients come by about 30 minutes before so that he can discuss the findings and tell them what he was able to find, and tell them the features of their home that they don't necessarily know. This is where the
going over everything, right?
Going over everything that's essential for being a homeowner. And 30 minutes after he started the inspection, I get a phone call. Yeah, Jocelyn. And when he calls and I see it so early, I automatically, oh my God.
Right, heart flutters, you get concerned, like, what is happening? Like, was he able to get in the house? Is he at the right house? Did something happen?
Right.
So all the negative issues can start to play in your brain because that's early. I mean, 30 minutes into the inspection, he's barely taking stuff out of his car by that point. So, okay. So what were the buyers expecting before the inspection happened? So like you said, it was aesthetically pleasing. You all didn't see any issues, no red flags or anything like that.
They were already planning furniture placement.
Right.
And understanding what school the children were going to go into.
Gotcha.
But when I received the phone call 30 minutes after the inspection, the inspector said, Jocelyn, our clients aren't buying this house.
Oh,
and
he was like, I'm not going to let them buy this house.
Because we have a good relationship. I trust whatever he says, whatever he finds, he has the proper documentation to say, this is what I find. This is why I think it's a negative.
Right.
This is how it could be resolved. Or this is something that's a walk away
from. Right. And that's important to have a good rapport with your inspector, because honestly, there are tons of inspectors that you can choose from, but you want to have someone that you have a good rapport with, who you trust, and who has the know about of different code changes, things to look for. You want someone that knows those things, because if they don't, you could be walking into something, although it looks pretty, it is essentially a dressed up pig. I mean, you could be walking into something that it looks so pretty, but as soon as you walk in and everything starts to fall apart. So what did the inspector uncover that the buyers, that everybody was shocked about?
I will say the one thing that I love about this inspector, once I refer someone to him, it becomes his client.
Right,
too.
right.
So that's why he
said,
said,
it's personal with them too.
We're not letting our client is not buying this house.
Right.
He was in the basement, and that was what my clients wanted.
That was the thing. That was it.
The basement, a finished basement. He walked in the basement, and he said, "Oh, it smells good down here. Nice potpourri smell."
Oh Lord, was it covering us?
And he said, "That's strong. That's kind of strong." So what he did was he took his moisture meter, because he could see a shade of difference in the paint at the bottom part of, or the bottom 1.5 to 2 feet on the basement floor. Going up the wall, he could see a little shade difference. And he reached for his moisture meter and zoned in and realized that there was nothing but moisture behind there.
That's water, mold.
Yes. That's he said, "Jocelyn, I'm glad I started in the basement."
Oh my gosh.
And I normally do, because that's where we start, and then sometimes he'll go up. But he said, "There's so much mold in this house." That's why they had the scent going.
To cover it up.
Yeah. And when he walked into one of the side closets that was not painted or finished, he could see the gray brown where they forgot to paint that inside of that closet.
Oh my gosh.
What that inspector did is it saved my clients from buying a house that looked beautiful. That was in the subdivision, everything that they wanted.
Checked all the boxes except for mold.
However,
mold was not on their boxes.
One of the options. They weren't looking for it, nor did they want it to be presented to them. But it's just the fact that that's how important it is for my clients. I always recommend and encourage an inspection, because that saved them from years of raising children in a home that you don't know what other health issues could result in.
I mean, imagine someone had asthma, allergies, things like that. I mean, that would be detrimental. I mean, let alone if it went unresolved, that turns into black mold with spores everywhere. I mean, that is, oh my God. I mean, that is horrible. I mean, and the fact of the matter is, to add insult to injury, they knew what was going on and painted over it. So that was a latent defect that they did not disclose. Oh my God. That is crazy.
It was a REO, real estate owned property by the bank. Right.
But the bank did have contractors that come out there and do work on it. So someone knew.
Someone knew what they were painting over.
Right.
And to do the potpourri. They just didn't remember to do that closet.
Oh, and then somebody, because it was essentially covered up, someone knew and covered up, because they painted over it and they added that potpourri smell to cover up the scent. Because when you walk into a basement, we know what a smell of moisture smells like. And so whoever covered that up knew it was a defect. So tell me, how did the buyers react once they were told this information?
I went ahead and called them. I told them, I said, "Hey, if y'all have time, let's just go ahead and meet at the house. I think we've discovered something that may be a deterrent." And of course, they were broken, because this was the neighborhood that they wanted. This was the house plan they wanted, with the basement. And they just sat there and they looked at Mary, and understand that these are clients that I'd used before, and they were familiar with Mary before. And they again selected him to do the inspection on this house. And they both looked at each other, shrugged their shoulders, and said, "Well, if Marion says, and here's the proof."
It's evidence. It's not like he just made anything up. I mean, it's evident. And they had enough trust in him because of their previous rapport with him, their trust in you and whoever you refer. So they had no doubt. They just, of course, you're going to be broken, because like you said, they were already thinking about where furniture was going to go, like what shade on paint things. I mean, they were already planning those things. And here, lo and behold, there is an issue, and now they have to pivot. I mean, and unfortunately, I mean, we often have to to pivot ourselves in our industry. We have to.
Absolutely.
But if you are a buyer or a seller, it can be a little bit more difficult to pivot because you're starting to see yourself moving on. You're starting to see yourself in this new home. So it may be difficult for them to pivot. So how did you navigate the inspection? I mean, the contract after the inspection, like what happened next?
We just went ahead and called them. I called the listing agent and let her know that we were going to send over a termination. What warmed my heart is that my clients did not want to discuss how it could be remedied.
Oh no.
How could it be fixed? All they needed to know was that Marion said, or my inspector said, this is not something you can play around with.
Right.
This is hazardous.
Right. It's absolutely hazardous.
What's going to happen, or what other health issues may result of it. And the fact they said, okay, well, let's just go ahead and terminate. And I had no problem calling the listing agent. She said, well, can you send me the inspection report? I most certainly can.
Absolutely. I probably have a feeling that you already knew about this, but we're not going to go into that.
No. I wasn't even going to tinker on that. I just wanted to at least let her know I'll go ahead and give you that so that you can save the next person and make adjustments or do the proper mitigation to do this house or to list this house without having these issues. Right,
because honestly, I mean, your clients could have said, okay, there are an option that they did have would have been like, okay, well, we want them to remedy it. But I agree with them because at this point, you already knew about it. You didn't remedy it originally. I don't have any faith in your ability to remedy it correctly now that I've had to spend the money to bring it up. These are things that you already knew about. So I 100% agree with their decision. I mean, I wouldn't want that either. I know a lot of times with inspections, when we have issues with inspections, one of the things we do is we try to negotiate to go back and forth about getting things repaired by the seller and things like that. But when it comes to this was absolutely a no. I mean, you hid it from me and allowed me to go through with this process, knowing in the back of your mind, hoping that it wouldn't be uncovered. And here it is, it's uncovered. Absolutely. I don't have any faith that you will do the right thing again.
Even if it was a matter of them allowing us to pick the mold mitigation company, that's fine. But the fact that it was there, we don't know how long it was there. The fact that it was bank owned, there's only a limited amount of knowledge that they have about what all has happened in the property. So it wasn't worth it. And they saw it and they just shrugged their shoulders and said, okay, let's keep looking.
Let's keep looking. I mean, the perfect house is going to be out there. And I'm sure that you were able to find it to them because this is a past story. So we already know they already closed. They got those keys.
They got the keys to a perfect home with a finished basement. No mold.
No mold. See?
And they actually had an extra bathroom.
Bedroom
and a bathroom.
A little trouble, a little extra for your trouble. You know what I mean? So sometimes that will help because, of course, like you said, they were distraught, they were upset about it. But a lot of times that just means that something bigger and better, which is proof because they have the keys to their bigger and better home. They got more, they got what they wanted and some. But it was essential because I'm sure they had an inspection immediately on the next one and no issues.
Said, can we call Marion? They didn't say, are we going to have one? They said, can we call Marion?
Can we call them back?
And I do need to say, a lot of clients they choose not to do an inspection or they want to not do an inspection if it's new construction or if it's something, I know the people that used to live in that house. No. That has been a housewarming gift to at least 4 of my clients that I've said, okay, no, I think you need it. Well, we can't afford that or that's not in our budget. Well, the budget was set, but the cost of the inspection
wasn't included in it.
Cost a little bit more than what they were thinking about for the square footage. And I said, how about this? Instead of me getting you another housewarming gift, I'll pay for this inspection. And that's the risk I'm willing to take because I don't want my name to be associated with something that they close on.
And there's issues, tons of issues.
That they could have found out about through an inspection. And an inspection that I could have actually made happen. So,
and that's a great, the fact of the matter is that it doesn't matter if it's, like you said, if it's brand new, it doesn't matter if it's a resale. honestly, it doesn't matter if you're getting ready to build a home. Okay, like if you have a custom builder that's ready to build a home for you,
yes,
you still have to go through those inspections, because this real estate itself and building, there are going to be errors. I mean, because no one and nothing is perfect. Okay,
these are human beings.
Human beings doing,
and they may overlook something.
Exactly,
and you don't know the importance of what they overlooked and the impact or the domino effect that will
cause. Absolutely. So our takeaway from this definitely is have an inspection. Period. Point blank. Don't forgo that thinking it's going to save you some money. It doesn't. In the long run, it's going to cost you money.
Hours, time, and heartache.
Yes. I mean, think about it. They had not had the inspection when, like you said, went in there with family and friends and all that, and down there living the detriment that it could cause down the road.
Absolutely.
So definitely takeaway is have an inspection done. So now, last question is, what would you advise? I mean, we just said make sure you have an inspection, but what would you advise another agent or another client to do if they have a negative inspection? Like something comes back from the inspection that doesn't necessarily look good. What would be like some of your takeaway or your keynotes to them?
For me, not every inspection that has a flaw or discovers a defect is not resolvable.
Right.
Just the resources in this industry that we try to keep hold of. I keep contact with people who may know who can remedy this property.
Exactly.
One thing is the inspector. He knows what the problem is and he knows how it could be resolved. He cannot resolve it.
Right.
But he knows who he may be able to recommend. And that's one of the things that I would recommend that my clients look to pursue, even with the listing agent. Hey, let's go ahead and let them know this is what we found. You all can find a couple of people in your wheelhouse to remedy the area, the issue, and then we'll look for someone and we'll come in your wheelhouse to remedy the area, the issue, and then we'll look for someone and we'll come someplace in between. And at closing, we can have that paid for at closing to make sure that we're not asking you all to fix something that we're not going to move forward with. The key is having a positive attitude about either this was a delay or a deny. In my case, it was a deny. We denied the house. But in other cases, it has just simply delayed the closing and pushed it out a little bit further so that we can move into a house with all the issues further remedied.
Exactly. Like she was saying, you can do you can always do it where the repairs are done by the buyer after closing. And depending on what the repairs are, it may be where the seller can do some of those repairs before closing. Really just depends on what that is, what the seller and the buyer negotiate, what they're able to handle. So don't just think that, oh my gosh, there are some flaws in this report, it's over. That's not necessarily the point. Depends on what those flaws are, it just depends on what everyone's comfortability factor is and what they can fix.
The dynamics of the parties involved.
Exactly.
That makes the biggest issue, because you never know if this is a fix-it husband. That's the seller. He just never fixed it. But now it's been brought up to him to fix. And he can fix it. Or if it's something that, hey, I know someone who can do that.
Exactly.
It makes all the difference in the world and can save the deal.
Definitely.
As opposed to having to search someplace else. We'll just perfect what we've already found.
And like you said, that has a lot to do with who you have in your network. It also has a lot to do with being able to communicate with your seller, with your buyer. If you're on the buyer side, if you're on the seller side, being able to communicate with the other agent, all parties being able to communicate. And like you said, having that network. All of those things come with experience. It comes with, being able to want the best for your client. So those are all things that have to be in play in order for you to adequately resolve inspection issues. It may be that you terminate and move on and find something else. Or it may be that you are able to get things fixed and still meet at the closing table. So there's always ways to get around it. We just have to figure out what's best for our clients.
The dynamics of the parties involved. That's what it boils down to.
That's it. Absolutely. Well, thank you, love. I appreciate you coming over and giving us this inspection, because honestly, inspections and appraisals, because we already had the episode about that one, but inspections and appraisals are two very, very essential, important parts of the contract. So it's always good to know that there are agents that will handle this situation with poise and get everything done. So again, thank you. Thank you all for coming and watching this episode, and we can't wait to show you another one. Y'all have a good day. Bye.